Your Honor, Mr. Castañon is available now.
Very good.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Castañon, you're precisely on time. The court calls case number 643-245, State of Texas versus Justin Nathaniel Alvarez. The charge of unlawfully carrying a weapon. Mr. Orlando Castañon, his defense attorney, is present. Acting on behalf of the state is Ms. Caitlin Morgan. Are we ready to proceed, folks?
Defense is ready.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Alvarez, would you please raise your right hand? You solemnly swear that in this proceeding, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Mr. Alvarez, you're charged with an offense of unlawfully carrying a weapon, a criminal offense here in the state of Texas. That is the original charge. I am informing you of your rights, constitutional rights and protections. I will discuss with you these rights and constitutional protections, and they will be made of record by Ms. Kaylin Rivera. She's a court reporter. You'll also see these in writing on documents that it's my impression that you have already reviewed with your attorney, and several of them, most of them, you have actually signed yourself. So I inform you that you have the right to remain silent. That means you have the right to refuse to say anything. You don't have to make statements. You don't have to answer questions. You don't have to submit paperwork that has your signature that may admit or confess to wrongdoing. Do you understand you have the right to remain silent?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to a jury trial, a proceeding wherein your attorney and the state's attorney would select from a jury panel 6 people who would listen to the evidence in this case, if any, and decide whether you're guilty or not guilty. You understand you have the right to a jury trial?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to confront witnesses. That means in a trial, any witness who would come in and testify, you'd have the right to cross-examine them, question them, challenge them. You understand you have the right to confront witnesses?
Yes, sir.
You also have a right called the right to appeal. After the proceeding is had, if you thought you should challenge the proceeding or the results of the proceeding, you and or your attorney, or you yourself or your attorney by themselves, could ask a higher court in a proper manner using the right papers and the right amount of time. You could ask a higher court to review the official record and the evidence and the results for whatever challenge you wanted to make. That's the right to appeal. Do you understand you have that right?
Yes, sir.
You also have a right to have this proceeding in a public open courtroom. Because of the COVID pandemic, we're not having hearings in an open public courtroom. Instead, we're doing them by video conference. But you have the right to demand that this be in the open public courtroom. The state has that right also, separate and independent from you. The state has that right. Now, the rights that you have in this proceeding, and by agreeing to a plea, you're giving up those rights that I have mentioned to you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Has that been discussed and explained to you, discussed with you and explained to you by your attorney?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, in this proceeding, I will show you documents. At the top of each document, with one exception, you will see up here in front of you what I call identifying information. The cause number or case number, this one says CC, but the case number is 643244. The state of Texas versus Justin Nathaniel Alvarez in County Court at Law Number 5, Bexar County, Texas. You'll see that in most, if not all, the documents with one exception. And then the title of the document, in this case, it's State's Consent to Video Conference.
Mm-hmm.
This is the state's right, and they are giving up that right by this consent. It is signed by the Assistant District Attorney, Ms. Caitlin C. Morgan. Are you aware of this document?
Yes, sir.
All right. The next document, again with the same identifying information. This one, the title of the document is Discovery Acknowledgement. You'll see the very first line talks about Article 39.14 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. You don't have to worry about the name or the title or the numbers. But what this law is a law that requires the state to provide to you and your attorney all receipts, documents, information, videos, whatever there exists that is involved in this case, especially evidence, so that you and your attorney can make a fully informed and intelligent decision. Did you review this document and understand it?
Yes, sir.
You notice that both your attorney and the state's attorney signed. They acknowledge that, yes, that law has been obeyed. I will be signing that after this proceeding. The next document is called the Defendant's Consent to Video Conference. Again, the identifying information. This one specifically is yours in writing, where you agree to waive the appearance in the public open courtroom. By the way, this proceeding is being broadcast on YouTube to the whole world. Anybody that wants to tune in and watch and listen and see can do so. This next document is called the Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Courts Admonitions. This is, again, the identifying information. Then the document starts with 3 separate sentences. The first one, it says, it's in the first person, it says, I, Justin Nathaniel Alvarez. Then you declare that you don't need me to read to you the official documents that accuse you of violating the law. Then the second one says, I understand what I'm charged with. You're saying unlawfully carrying a weapon, and it specifies a handgun. The third sentence says that I hereby enter a plea of nolo contendere to the charge of unlawfully carrying a weapon, a handgun. Now, the rest of this document essentially is divided into 15 separate sections or divisions. Each one is numbered separately. The first one, if you'll notice with me, it says right at the top, this is the range of punishment for the offense. So there's a bunch of little squares that are stacked up vertically, and next to each one, there's a declaration, a statement about a range of punishment that's available for different types of offenses or different offense. The one that's check marked next to it, it says Class A. That means it's a Class A misdemeanor. The punishment can be from $0 to $4,000 fine, and jail from 0 days to 1 year in jail. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, number 2, read that for me. What does it say?
I understand I have the right to jury trial, a right to cross-examine a witness, and the right to remain silent. I freely and voluntarily waive those rights.
Now, you read this and you signed that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you agree that number 2 is an accurate statement that you are saying and doing that?
Yes, sir. It's an accurate statement.
All right. Mr. Alvarez, have you ever had any mental health problems?
No, sir.
Have you ever been given or taken mental health medications?
Yes, sir.
What have you taken or when?
It was in 8th grade, so about 2009, I took medication for ADHD.
Right, but you haven't taken them the last year or so?
No, sir.
All right. Number 4 talks about that you're telling me that you're pleading nolo contendere or guilty. What are you pleading, sir?
Nolo contendere.
Right. Number 4, you're telling me that you're doing that because you think it's in the best interest, your own best interest, and you're aware of the evidence and information, and your attorney has advised you that this is in your best interest. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been in any way involved with a sex offender registration program?
No, sir.
All right. Now, you have to understand that as the judge, I have the authority and responsibility to say yes or no to your plea bargain. I know you've made a plea bargain, a deal with the state, but the bottom line is, as the judge, I have to say yes or no. I can also give you any punishment in the range of punishment that we talked about earlier, and I can give you a punishment within that range, but it could be heavier than what you agreed to, more than what you agreed to. So if I reject your deal or I give you a punishment that's more than what you expected or wanted or agreed to, the law would allow you to start all over again, and nothing you've said or anything you've signed would be used against you. Is that clear?
Okay, sir. It's clear.
All right. Where were you born, sir?
San Antonio, Texas.
All right. The papers will reflect that you are a U.S. citizen. Some of these paragraphs or sections do not really apply to you, but I will ask you, did you review this whole document and
Yes, sir.
understand it?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any question? Number 15 says that you could request a risk and needs assessment, but by your signature, you're telling me that you don't want that. You want to go ahead and proceed today. Is that
Yes, sir.
true? All right. I will sign and approve this document. The document you're being shown now, again, the identifying information. This one is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. That's me, that's mine. I am saying to you, the 5th box here, there's again a bunch of boxes stacked vertically. Each one says something about the right of appeal. The 5th box I will mark, this says a plea bargain. This is a plea bargain case and the defendant has no right of appeal. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir.
And you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
I will sign and approve it then. You're now shown a document, again with the identifying information. This says application for deferred adjudication. Let's talk about that so you know and understand clearly what deferred adjudication means. It is a very beneficial form of probation for you, but I need you to understand that there's some conditions to it that you must understand clearly.
Mhm.
First of all, you're going to be placed on community supervision. But more importantly, even though you're going to enter a plea of nolo contendere, which this court takes as a guilty plea, I will not find you guilty, although I could. And as long as you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision, every bit of it, then at the end, this case will be dismissed, and under Texas law, you're not convicted of it. The unlawfully carrying. If you fail to live up to 100% or you refuse to live up to 100%, then the state will ask me to give you official notice and bring you in for hearing. And at that hearing, I will have the authority to go ahead and give you a final conviction that will follow you the rest of your life. In addition, if that happens, that there's a conviction entered, then you're looking at 100% of the range of punishment. The fine all the way from $0 to $4,000. The jail all the way from 0 days to 1 year in jail. Is all that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Was that discussed with you and explained to you by your attorney?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, this document is a little bit different from the others. This is the big exception. It does not have the identifying information at the top. And frankly, because this is your full, complete identifying information. It's called a personal data sheet. Did you fill one out completely?
No, sir.
All right, I'm going to want you to be sure and go to the courtroom or to the offices for courtroom number 5 or county court of law number 5 and fill out every bit of this information. Are you employed?
Yes, sir.
By whom?
Social Spot. It's a bar downtown.
All right. And are you working full-time?
Part-time.
All right. How many hours? Are you a student at all?
No, sir.
All right. How many hours a week are you working?
25 hours a week.
And what are you earning per week?
About $250 a week.
And does that do you get tips or is that it?
It depends on the position that they need me to work for the day. Whenever I do my bouncing duties, I just make the hourly pay. But if they need me to be taking cover charges or working the grounds, if they need me to do that, I get tips.
So the 250, that is the sum total every week that you're earning.
Yes, sir.
Do you live with your parents or do you live with somebody else?
I live with my parents.
All right. So am I correct in presuming, and perhaps I'll just ask you outright, are you married or single?
Single?
Do you have any children as dependents?
No, sir.
And do you have a vehicle?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
It's a 2013 Mazda 3.
All right. What color is it?
It's a grayish green color.
All right. We're now going to show you what's called the plea agreement. Don't forget, I'm ordering you to fill all that information in there, every bit of it.
Yes, sir.
This document's called the plea agreement. The identifying information here is State of Texas versus Justin Nathaniel Alvarez, case number 643244. It does not state that it's in County Court 5, but it is not necessary, obviously. This agreement, I will be marking the first 2 boxes that you've had explained to you, particularly the right to remain silent. Then I'll mark the second box that says defendant is a U.S. citizen. Then we skip down to the next section. It's called Defendants Acknowledgements. Did you look over each one of those declarations after those 5 little boxes stacked vertically?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about them?
No, sir.
They've all been checked off, indicating that you're fully aware of what they say, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I am ordering you to appear at the offices within 7 days at the offices of County Court at Law Number 5. One of the reasons is for you to fill out the information on the forms that are required. Second reason is you'll have to place, they'll help you with it, but you'll have to place thumbprints on some of the documents. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
It is a requirement. Now, you are charged with, and you're entering a plea for unlawfully carrying a weapon, UCW. To that charge, sir, how do you plead?
The nolo contendere.
That is correct, okay. I'll remind you that a nolo contendere plea is considered a guilty plea in this court and is sufficient for me to convict you on that basis. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, I find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not find you guilty. I am honoring your agreement with the state and granting you 1 year deferred adjudication. You are fined $500. You will community service hours, but in lieu of those community service hours, you will donate to the San Antonio Food Bank $200 in lieu of those of the community service hours. Is that your agreement?
Yes, sir. But I had a question. Do they give a receipt about the $200 donation or?
Absolutely.
Okay,
It is the San Antonio Food Bank, like other organizations, are charitable organizations, and they are authorized by law to give receipts for donations.
all right. Thank you, sir.
As part of the agreement, the court will take in consideration case number 643245 and dismiss that case. You will also participate in the Drug Offender Education Program, DOEP. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Your supervisory fee, I will set at the minimum, which is $25 per month. Any questions, Mr. Alvarez?
No, sir.
Question, Mr. Castañon?
No, Your Honor.
Questions, Ms. Morgan?
No, Your Honor, but I did want to mention, I guess Mr. Castañon and I had discussed maybe forfeiting a motion to forfeit the weapons to him if he was still wanting to do that.
Oh, that's correct, Judge. I guess I wanted a motion to forfeit the weapon. I was going to ask to have that weapon released to me. I would submit a motion.
All right. What kind of weapon is it?
I believe it's a 9mm Taurus.
All right.
Your Honor.
Mr. Alvarez, do you have any objection to that?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Garcia?
There's an issue I just came across on this case. Originally, one of the cases got dismissed, and it wasn't reopened. The system shows that case number 643244 is still dismissed, and that's the one he just pled to.
The
one I announced was 643245.
That's
Your
well,
Honor.
because the paperwork has a different case number on it.
The case, Your Honor, if I may, the case he pled to was 643244, but I spoke to our paralegal and she said that it had been opened, Patty. That's why we were able to plead to it. Had it not, it said file received in court, County Court 5 on April 20th. And it looks like the judge had already signed off on it.
I would also say that there was a summons that was sent out.
To reopen, that's correct, to reopen
Well,
the file.
but it's showing, the system is showing, I can show you what it's showing. This is what the system shows currently pending for Mr. Alvarez.
Which is 643245.
That's the one I had scheduled for today for a plea.
That's
And
what
this
I
is-
have. That's
this
what I
is-
announced. Are the
Right, and
papers 643244?
That was,
Yes.
yes, Your Honor, that was on the plea paperwork.
well,
will-
it looks, Judge, it looks like the filing is this one. This is the one that was refiled.
That's
Yes.
659556.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so which,
Let me go into another screen. Hold on. Let me show you this other screen.
what were our documents? What were the numbers?
The ones he pled to is 643244.
Well, that's what the documents say?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I would order that the documents instead, each of them be changed to the case 659556. So all these documents, I want the case number changed to 659556. Is there any objection, Mr. Castañon?
I have no objection. The
Well,
only concern I would, I guess, have, it
We'll
would be,
do the cleanup. We'll do the cleanup in a moment.
okay.
Mr. Alvarez, do you understand what we're doing?
Yes, sir.
We're changing the number on the case to coincide with the actual current case, which is 659556. Is there in fact a file in that number or a what is it that we're doing with that, Patty? 643245.
I wish Linda would have logged on.
Your Honor, 643 245 was going to be TIC'd as an agreement for the felony attorney. So that was going to be a TIC'd with the plea today. So
643245.
correct.
So
So this is what the system shows, Judge. I don't know if you can see
Yeah.
it. Case number count one is the one that's showing case closed. That's for this case number 643244. And it's been refiled under this case, second case number count. And this is the correct and new case number, which
Right.
is what you're saying that we need to change it to.
all right, so what is count one? That's UCW handgun motor vehicle.
That's just for the purposes of the case number, as far as how they close and refile and close and refile.
Okay, was
the
this one
DAs.
closed? Was this one closed and refiled? Is that what happened?
Yes, sir. And this is,
Alright.
it's the same JN number, but this is the same, the new case number.
All right, so we're changing then the numbers on the case we have just now handled to 659556, which is the same charge, same date, same event. However, it's been refiled. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now, Ms. Morgan, you're informing me that there was a plea that took in consideration 643245.
That was the plea in this case, Your Honor. This case, the one he just pled to, took into consideration, and you had already stated it. It's 643245.
There's something wrong here.
So what happened is the felony attorney had asked me to dismiss one and or to TIC one and plead to one, but I had filed the dismissal on the wrong one. And so then I was told to refile it, which I did, but I was not aware that there was a new case number that came with that. I was told that it would be the same case number, but I guess that's why we have that 659556.
Right, so Judge, I believe what happened is there was two UCWs. One was for a handgun, the other was for a long knife / sword. And as part of our agreement, the case with the knife was going to be dismissed. That's the one with the 4-5. She dismissed the 4-4 instead of the 4-5. When she refiled, 4-4 was replaced with the same JN number, but with a new cause number because I guess they refiled it. And so I believe that's why it's showing still just two UCWs. And as part of our plea on the 659556 case, they will be dismissing the 643245 case.
The problem that I see is that as far as the record is concerned, he had two UCWs, but in fact
is
they are
correct.
not. It's one.
No, they were
UCW.
two. There were two UCWs. That is correct. There were two UCWs. Again, one was for
Okay,
a
so
gun, and the other one was for a knife.
643245 is a sword or a blade.
Correct.
All right, and that one was taken in consideration with what?
The current case of the handgun, UCW handgun.
Okay, so on the plea to 659-556, formerly 643-244.
That's correct.
Correct.
Okay,
And in
so-
the plea paperwork, it's reflective of the fact that we were taking into consideration the sword case.
All right. So as I said momentarily, the 659-556 will be, that number will be placed on all the documents that we just handled, all the pleadings we just handled. Is that correct?
Yes, Your
Yes,
Honor.
Your Honor.
All right. So, Linda, make sure that that's reflected on all the papers.
She's not on, Judge.
All right, well, then Ms. Garcia, make sure that is reflected on the papers, however
Yes.
we need to do it.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, anything further?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing from defense.
All right.
Your
Mr.
Honor, I
Al-
just need to speak to him.
Mr.
More
Alvarez,
information.
I'm going to need you to go with Ms. Maricela Luna. She is the community, or rather the court liaison officer that will get you ready for the probation department so you can get your deferred adjudication conditions and everything done. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you going to put them in breakout, Patty, or what are we going
Yes,
to do?
sir. Yes, Your
All right,
Honor.
you'll go to breakout. Ms. Garcia will instruct you momentarily.
It's
Thank you.
it's gonna be breakout room 2.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Castañon, you're excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. And Justin, you just want to, she's going to assign you to a breakout room. You need to join that to meet with your with the probation department. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Judge. You have a good day.
You too. Stay safe, all of you.
You too.
Now, court calls case number 641682, State of Texas versus Guillermina Moncada, Loretta Swit.
I'm here, Judge. And so is my client.
Hopefully much more clear and unconfusing as I have just had now.
I hope so too.
Okay. Are you ready to proceed, defense?
Yes, Judge. Ms.
Hey.
Moncada, can you turn on your video? I may have to text her.
Okay. She's also muted.
I think she's here, Judge. Well,
This is fits my classic expression. I say there's an expression, to err is human, forgive divine, but to really screw up, you need computers.
there's she. There she is.
I think she's there. Ms. Moncada. Oh, my God. As soon as I mentioned her name, she took off on it.
Your Honor, just to let you know, she's been logging off and on since 10 after 2.
She texted me she can't hear anything.
Well, hell, we're not going to be able to do it if she